Hello everyone! Your lovely teacher, Isabella Electrum, is here, and today we're going to be talking about arrays, an intro to them. There is kind of a lot to talk about in regards to them, so there's going to be a few episodes on this. Boop. Shh. Secrets. Okay, so I have pre-typed out a program for us because this might get a bit long, so I wanted to try and save you guys some time so I'm not wasting it on you. So first things first, I'm going to show you what the program does. We're going to run it. Please input your words. Hello, class. And it's going to print out hello, class, with a space on both sides, the left and the right side of every letter, which gives us a big space here. So it's spacing out the words. Relatively simple, but there's a bit of complexity behind it. So let's get into it. Obviously, we have to import the scanner because I'm typing. We have the strings that we talked about before because we're using strings here. Then I request that you type something in. Then, of course, our scanner sets input equal to the entire line whenever I type, which allows two words here. If this was just keyboard.next, it would grab hello, then stop. It would not grab this. So we went next line just in case you wanted to type more than one word. This is the syntax for creating arrays. Specifically, we want to make an array of characters because we're only going to be printing out an individual character at a time here, and not a full string, like so, or like just hello. So we have an array, well, it's named array. This right here signifies it's an array, so we have a character array named array, and it is equal to input.toCharacterArray. Now, how would you know to do this? Well, that would be simply what I spoke about a few episodes ago, which is the API, Java 11 API, or JDK, whatever you want to call it. Google one of these things, you'll eventually find the thing we are looking for. And you find that the phrase toCharacter array does what it sounds like. It's going to set something into a character array. So this dot right here means we are calling a method. The method is named toCharacterArray. And we're calling this method on input, which is, as we see up here, this is a string. So we're turning a string into a character array. Now let's flip Google and find the API to understand what toCharacterArray does real quick. It's very simple and it's something everyone can do rather easily. And I do recommend taking a look at some of these things. Boom, right here. That easy. No, I pulled it up beforehand. Yeah, this is not the official API, but okay, now it's just throwing a hissy fit. Piss off. But yeah, complicated, but basically it explains itself. I'll get more into in-depth on things when we get to that point. There's a lot to talk about in regards to arrays, so we can get to that in a moment. This is just an introduction to how they function. And then we have a thing here called printArray, which is this method down here. And remember back to the loop videos, which are relatively recent. This is a for loop. For loops are great for, like I mentioned in their video, indexing through arrays. So let me explain how this loop is going on. First things first, public static void, which means it's not returning a value. It's not like blah, 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 equals print array, in which case it would be returning a value. So not returning a value, so we don't have to worry about that. And it's named print array. It is being passed a character array, Now, there is pass by value and pass by reference, which I will go do an entire video on the difference between pass by value and pass by reference, because that's an important concept. But for now, just be aware that arrays are a bit special, but I'm not going to go on a tangent on that for now. If you want some extra credit, you can see if you can figure it out on your own and post in the comments the difference, and you get some extra credit. But that's just, for now, just some silly things you can do if you wish. Moving back on to the current thing. So for int I equals 0, till while I is less than array.length. So we're, again, that calling methods thing we were speaking about just before. Whereas up here, it is input.toCharacterArray, so we're calling a method of the string variety. This is a method that exists for the arrays. Also, technically, you can call length on a string. That also functions. So realistically, if we wanted to, we could also go off of input.length. That would function. But in this case, we're speaking on arrays, so we're just going to keep it to the topic of arrays. Then, of course, we're going to increment I. So what we're doing here is just a simple print. This right here is just a blank space, and over here is a blank space. The pluses here are to combine multiple different things that we're printing at the same time. And then right here, so you'll remember up here, we use these brackets, and also right here we use these brackets. These are used quite commonly for arrays. In fact, if we wanted to make an array of fixed length, like we could go char array second array equals new char array, and then we could put 10 in here. What this would do, this makes an array of length 10. So declaration this side, initialization on this side. This makes a fixed length array, but the problem with this array here is if you were to type in an input that's more than 10 characters, you have a problem because you can't fit 11 characters when you only have a 10 character array slot. You can't fit 20, definitely. So that's a problem. So we use a definite length right here. We are declaring an array here, named array, and we're initializing it to input.toCharacterArray, which figures out the length of input and then goes on and, does the thing for you. It's very nice. It will, actually, we can do an entire lesson of doing the, oh, don't do that. We can go on a lesson of doing this thing's job for us, which is fun. But for now, just, it's useful. So we're initializing to a smart length that no matter how large the length is here, it will automatically make it a proper length for us, which is great. We never have to worry about the inputs being too large. We don't have to set an input character limit. Now that we understand how we're getting our array, and that we can use this to declare the maximum length, that should make it make more sense why we're sticking something in those right here. What we're doing here is instead of saying maximum length of the array here, we're saying print out what is at the index of I. So another way to look at this is I can go system.out.println, or yeah, we'll just print right now. And since down here is just a print statement, there's never a new line. We're going to have to force a new line in this. Printing character number 3. Then we're going to do the plus to add a second thing that we want to print. And then array. Now, there's a very quick flaw one can make here, because it's important to note that arrays start at 0 and not at 1. I'll show you what happens if we start at 1. But basically, if we were to type a 3 in here, you'll see a little bit of a problem. And I will demonstrate that problem for you right now really quickly, just so you have a bit of a better understanding instead of just hearing it from me. So, let's go hi boy. This way you can tell every character is unique. Oh, there's no trickery involved. Character number 3 is B, but hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's number 4. What gives? Well, it's because characters start at 0. Well, arrays, and most of programming, honestly, starts at 0. So you count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So in reality, to print the third character, it's 0, 1, 2. This will give us the real third character. And also, just for demonstration purposes, I'll show what happens if we start at 1. So you can see two things at once. We'll go, hi, boy. Oh, look, there's no H, because it skipped the first index. So that's how that functions. Now, of course, technically speaking, you can do another thing up here. You can just system.out.print array, but that won't work for all things. It's working nicely for characters, but you can have arrays of a lot of things. You can actually have arrays of arrays that are filled with rays in those arrays. It can get needlessly complicated, and for almost all intent and purpose, you should never need to do such crazy things. But just know that it's usually best to make sure that you're individually printing. But of course, there is times where the other method is useful to you. Like here, if I wanted to just print it without the spaces, I could do system.out.print array. And it would work. Hello. So, of course, I should put a space here, in which case, if we're trying to have the most optimal formatting, we would make this a println. So when we run it, hello, you have proper spacing, and it's not lello? I don't know how to pronounce hello. But you see how it did work here, but there are times where it won't work very well. So just keep in mind that's not an optimal method of going about things, and instead make a second method dedicated to printing your array. Anyway, I've talked your guys' ears off enough about arrays for now. That should be adequate enough for you guys to get a basic understanding of what we're doing here. And I will see you all next time. Wow, the recording had derp at the end there. Shh. I like OBS. Not sponsored.